Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Everyone's time is precious, so good evening and welcome. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join Craft Three's presentation on the Clean Water Lending Program. My name is Gina Ross. I am the Clean Water Program Manager here at Craft Three, and I have been assisting homeowners with financial help that need to repair or replace failing septic systems. And I've been doing that since 2010. And that includes underwriting the loan, closing a loan, just setting up disbursements to the contractors, being in contact with the health department, as well as the contractors and the homeowners, just trying to keep things moving smoothly for the homeowners. So it has kept me busy over the years. During this presentation, you all will be muted, and my colleague and co-host Jennifer will be monitoring the chat. So if you have a question, you can go ahead and enter that into the chat box, and Jennifer will make sure that I get it. There will also be an opportunity at the end of the presentation if you should have any questions or comments. So I believe everyone can see my screen and the PowerPoint, and I will get started. So the goal here is to get all the information to the contractors that you need to make this launch a success. Beginning September 1st, Craft 3 will have this loan program available across the entire state of Washington, which is really exciting news to me. I have received many phone calls from folks who have had failed septic systems and didn't really know what to do. And we were not able to assist them because of the county that they lived in. And so this is going to eliminate that roadblock to many homeowners. We're going to go over how the loan works, how we can help the homeowners, and how you can help your customers and grow your business with the Craft 3 financing. So we're going to go ahead and move on. So the loan program started in Pacific County along the Willapa Bay when the oyster growers were having some issues with their oyster beds. And that was, they were being threatened by the fecal matter that was running into Willapa Bay. And so the oyster growers got together with our founders and the local health department and were able to launch this clean water program in 2003. And since then, it has grown over the years. There's been many different counties join the program as it has been running. And so now we're really excited that everyone gets to join. So the loan program is set up to help the homeowners cover the entire cost of their septic systems. So when the homeowner has been notified by the county or they've had a pumper out or some kind of maintenance and they've been told that they need to repair or replace their septic system, the homeowners are at a loss. They understand that this is urgent, it's unexpected, and it can run into a very high cost. And so this program was developed to keep homeowners in their home, help offset that cost, and eliminate some of their stress that they get when they have this, when they find out about the septic system being failing. The loan program was set up also to assist low income households, help to clean up the water and protect the natural resources, and also keep the contractors working and provide local jobs. The program, as I said, can cover the entire cost of the repair, which includes pumping, design, permitting, the installation, and we also have a $2,000 reserve for continuing maintenance and inspections that system may need. We have lower interest rates for folks who have a lower household income. There's no upfront cost. We do have a loan fee, but that is collected at closing and the homeowner does not have to pay anything to Craft 3 out of pocket. Craft 3 uses the assessed value for determining the loan to value ratio. And so in some cases, the homeowner is actually borrowing more than the value of their home based on that assessed value. We do not require that a appraisal be completed. And so that also helps eliminate some of the costs to the homeowner. We work with folks who have imperfect credit. We do have to determine that they have the ability to pay what they're already obligated to owe, what they owe, but they don't have to have perfect credit. We have worked with homeowners who have filed bankruptcy, who are working on rebuilding their credit, and who have some low credit scores. Our interest rates are not determined and are not increased because of those low credit scores. We offer automatic payments, and so the homeowner, if they have to make payments to Craft 3, can have that directly pulled from their account. It's not required, but it is an offer, and seems to make things a little smoother for the homeowners. In some cases, the septic system repair loan can cover sewer connections as well. So if the homeowner is on has a failing septic system and they cannot repair that system, they have to connect to the sewer. So they're within the 300 feet or there's a line out there. Craft 3 can cover that expense. We do cover the connection charges as well as the cost to connect from the home to the main sewer line. And so we do need verification that the homeowner cannot repair their septic system, but that's usually something with the letter from the utility or the health department, or sometimes in even some cases the designer says we can't do anything, and that's what we use for the file, and that's something that is very helpful to the homeowners. To be eligible for the septic system repair loans, the system either has to be failing, 25 years old or older, or they've been contacted by the health department and are under orders to repair that system. In some cases, the home is for sale and the septic system did not pass the inspection, and we can help those homeowners as well. It just has to be the owner of the home who is on the application. So normally we try to get it the system repaired and closed out before the sale would go through, and then Craft 3 would be paid off at closing on those cases. The some of the repairs that aren't included under this program would be a do-it-yourself, unpermitted or unapproved repairs. So all of our repairs need to be approved and inspected by the county, whether it's a design and that gets approved, or if it's a tank decommission, something like that, it has to have that county sign off. And so a jetting or a tear lifting would not be included into this loan program. And also minor repairs. And even though those can be some expense and sometimes more expensive than what the homeowner actually feels like they can afford, we don't do the minor repairs. So if the D boxes needs to be replaced, or alarms or something like that, those repairs are not eligible under this program. One of the other things that I will mention is that Craft 3 is going to be launching this program as well into Oregon, and we hope to have that launch sometime October or November of this year. So that's really exciting to be able to help both states. So in Washington, because Craft 3 uses state and federal funds, all of our applications go through what is called a cultural resource review. And how that works is that once the application has been submitted to Craft 3, I'm going to share that project location with the Department of Ecology. And they have a map that they use to compare the project location with other historic sites or archaeologist findings or tribal lands. And that review can take about 30 days. In the cases where the failure is considered a public health hazard, where there would be surfacing sewage or backing up into the home, we can request an emergency review. I would just need to have some kind of documentation, whether it's from the county or a pumper or maintenance company, something like that, that is detailing what the actual failure is. And even pictures will sometimes be sufficient that I can send to Ecology. It's nothing that they want to ever see, but that those pictures do have an impact. And so they realize that that review needs to be taken, needs to be completed in an expedient manner. The other thing that can speed up the review process is if it's an in-kind repair. So it's just a tank replacement, the pulling out the old tank, putting in a new tank. I can, if I have that information, I can supply that to Ecology, and we can sometimes get that review period waived. So that's always a good thing to know. The more information I have at application is really helpful to get these projects moving forward. So during the determination, they're going to decide whether it's a high risk, low risk, or moderate risk. And in the cases where a survey or a monitor is required, that survey has to be completed and submitted to Ecology for review before the installation can begin. Not necessarily the design can go through, but the installation itself cannot begin until that survey has been reviewed and approved. And the same case if there is a monitor required to be on site during the installation, the monitor, the archaeologist, and the homeowner and the installer have to get together to set up their schedule so everyone can be on site. If there is a survey or monitor required, that homeowner will incur that cost. And but it can be included into the craft, it will be added into the craft 3 loan. And if it is a low income homeowner, we can get some possible grant funds to cover that expense as well. So the other thing that I do want to mention about the survey and monitor, if it's required, the homeowner's project will not be stopped. It will be allowed to be continued. It just may be delayed until everybody can get together with that. So it is sometimes a roadblock that we have to jump over and get through, and we do. It's a process that we deal with here at Craft 3 every single day. One other thing that I will say is that when it is determined that a survey or a monitor is required, Craft 3 will provide a list of archaeologists to the homeowners who work in their communities, so they can start calling and getting the bids or getting on the schedule for that as well. So as soon as I know something, the homeowner will be informed of that as well. So right now I'm showing you a list of our rates and terms. As I said, the interest rates are dependent on the annual household income, and the lower the income, the lower the interest rate, as well as having more repayment options. These rates and terms will be effective September 1st. So right now, the current applicants has a little bit different interest rate, or not an interest rate, but fall into different tiers. But as of September 1st, any household who earns, and it's a gross annual household income of less than 35,000, has our lowest interest rate, which is 2.49%. And that homeowner has 3 options. They can either defer all of their payments, and they would have a balloon due at the end of 15 years. They also have the option of making interest only payments, and that interest would be based on what the actual principal balance was of their loan. There would also be a balloon payment due at the end of 15 years, but it would just be the actual principal. It wouldn't have any interest accrued. Or they can make fully amortized payments, and we can calculate those payments so there would not be a balloon, and their term could be extended out for 15 years. We can't go past the 15-year maturity, but we can extend right up until that date. So that's helpful to keep those payments low for the homeowners. Anyone who earns between 35 and 55 pays an interest rate of 4.49%. And they have two options: the interest only payments, which again would have a balloon payment due in 15 years, or the fully amortized so that the loan would be paid off at maturity in that 15 years. And then anyone who earns over 55,000 or it's not their primary residence. So it could be a rental, it could be a vacation home, or just a second home that that is vacant at this point. They would pay our highest interest rate, which is 5.49%, and they would have fully amortized payments. And again, that term could be extended out for 15 years. There's no prepayment penalty, so if the homeowner wanted to pay more, they certainly could, or if they sold the house or refinanced the home, they would pay Craft 3 off at that point, and there would be no penalty. We do have some maximum loan amounts and loan to value ratios for the deferred option and the interest only option, and that's because of using the equity in the home to offset the risks on these loans. And then we do have a loan fee of $795, which will be added to the loan amount at closing. So we could go through the whole process of approving a loan, sending out documents to that homeowner, and then they decide they don't want to go with Craft 3. They've changed their mind for some reason, found other financing. They don't owe Craft 3 any money at all. We would just go ahead and withdraw their application. And we do have a lien on the property. We do secure the lien with a UCC filing, which is taking collateral into that property and that septic system. So I'm just going to go over the project workflow with you just a little bit. So the homeowner has heard from the health department or the designer or the pumper maintenance company that their septic system is failing. Hopefully at that same time, they'll have some information where they have some options on where to call. And that one of those options would be Craft 3. They would apply for a loan with us, and they may do so by applying online, which gets their application into our system the following business day. Or if they're not tech savvy, have email, or are not comfortable submitting an application online, we can mail an application to them, and then they can send it back to us either by fax or by regular mail. And so when that application comes in and it gets uploaded into our system, that cultural review, the cultural resource review period starts right away. And during that time of the review, the file is going to be assigned to a lender, and that lender is going to start looking at their credit, their income, their debt, and the property detail report, which shows the owner vesting. And they're going to start working with that homeowner to get their loan application approved. We can do a pre-approval, depending that we may need a bid or we may need additional income verification. That pre-approval is good for 90 days. And so that gives that homeowner time to either get us the additional information that we need to close the loan, or gets them the time to get the bids. If they pay for the design up front, they can send us a copy of that paid receipt and we can reimburse them, include those funds in their loan and reimburse them at loan closing. Or if they don't have the funds to pay for that design, we can do what is called an estimated set of loan documents, a design advance. So we're going to ask that homeowner to get the invoice from the designer that details their cost as well as the county design permit cost, and we'll do estimated loan documents. We will get loan documents out to that homeowner either electronically through DocuSign or through mail. And once they've signed the documents, they come back to us. If it's a design advance, we're going to issue checks to the designer for their fee and the county permit fee so that they can submit the design to the county for approval. Or if they've paid for the design and have the bid for the contractor, we will go ahead and reimburse them at closing and then set up the deposit to the contractor. And normally the deposit to the contractor is 50%. We can't go above the 50%, but we can go up to 50%. And the contractor has the options, has two options on how they want to be paid. They may be paid by checks, which Craft 3 issues checks on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they're mailed from our processor in Arizona. Or they can set up direct deposits, and those direct deposits are set up every day by Craft 3, Monday through Friday. And they're normally going to be deposited into that contractor's account within 1 to 2 business days. And so once you've received your deposit, you can then start the work. When the work has been completed, we're going to ask that contractor to send a final invoice to Craft 3, and we're going to get the homeowner's approval. And we're also checking to see if the county has signed off. So if the contractor can provide the as-built or the final approval from the county and supply both of those pieces of documentation to Craft 3, that speeds up the process of that final payment. If you aren't able to get that, because in most cases, the installer has to get information to the designer, and then the designer is the one that either does the as-built or record of construction and gets that to the county. I will be reaching out to the designer to see when they turn that in, and just keep following up to make sure that we can get the final approval from the county. And anything that the installer can do to get that process sped up helps a lot too, because we cannot release the final disbursement to the contractor until the county has signed off and the homeowner has signed off. So it's important to try to keep that going, because when we get so many applications and loan closings going through, it does kind of bottleneck for us to get those final payments out at times. And one thing that I will let you know is that the contractors have a resource page, and there's a contact sheet so that you can complete and get back to Craft 3 that would have your information, your contact information, who may be working in your office, who needs to be contacted for a disbursement notification. There will also be a W-9 in that packet, and we do have to have a W-9 on file before we can release any funds to that contractor. And then if you choose to have direct deposits, there will be an EFT form or a direct deposit form that you can complete that details your account information where you want those deposits to go. So just a look over the impacts that this clean water program has had. And this is showing both Washington and Oregon. And we were in Oregon for about a year and a half, 2 years, I think, with our loan program. So over $47 million were invested in both Washington and Oregon to assist homeowners with the septic system repairs. That impacted over 2,000 families. And of those 2,000 families, 37% of those families were low income. And by doing all those projects, 265 million gallons of wastewater is treated annually. That's a huge impact on that in our environment. So this page is just a breakout of what we've been doing in some of the counties in Washington so far. Kitsap County has always been a big county for Craft 3 with their picks that they go out and do, and then they share our information with those homeowners. They have a good program to try to get things cleaned up, and so they've also been with us for a number of years. So that's why there's 641 projects in Kitsap County as of June of this year. But it also shows you that what the annual or the average loan size is by county. And some of them are a little high, but our average loan amount's just under 24,000. And I do see that in that number increasing. We've had probably 3 or 4 applications close in Jefferson County in the last couple of months, and they've all been over $40,000 repairs. And so it just shows you that it doesn't really matter if you are a low income household or if you're a medium household income. Not many people have $40,000 sitting in a savings account or can just come up with that kind of money to repair a septic system. So that's why this program is so important to everyone. So just a couple of borrower stories. I will tell you that if you go out to our website, there is a video of Terry Fisher, and she is a borrower out of Kitsap County, and her story is just it's heartwarming, and it details what this program has meant to many people. So she found that she discovered her problem when her toilet wasn't flushing. And so she Googled septic systems and had a contractor come out, and they tried to fix her problem. And then it was determined that she was going to need a whole new system. And she knew that she didn't have those funds. She realized that it was going to be between $25,000 and $30,000, and she just did not have that. She's a single parent on a fixed income and already had a mortgage. And her contractor had worked with Craft 3 before, and so shared our information with her, and we were able to get her the funding to close that loan. And so again, if you get a chance to look at that video, it's a beautiful video, I think. Another story is a U.S. Air Force veteran out of Whatcom County, and he started having issues with his septic system and didn't know what to do. And he was living on that fixed income as well. And the health department shared Craft 3's information with him. So it's important that Craft 3 have relationships with both the health department and the contractors, because you are the ones that are out there on that front line. And so when you go out to those homeowners and you find that there's a problem, giving those homeowners a brochure from Craft 3 is a great option for giving them some assistance, getting some assistance to them. I have one more story, and this couple was lived in Chinook, Washington, right along the Columbia River, and they had been in their house for less than 6 months when their septic system failed. Unfortunately, it failed in the middle of winter, and on the peninsula, it can get really wet, and so they weren't able to repair that system right away. They didn't have the finances and didn't have the weather, and they used a porta potty for 6 months almost in the winter. So it was like from November to February that they were using an outdoor porta potty. And so their contractor also had worked with Craft 3, and we were able to get them using an indoor potty instead of an outdoor one. So Craft 3 is a community development financial institution. We are a nonprofit, we're not a bank, and we don't take on deposits, but we are a mission-based lender. The loans that we make and close, we are intended to strengthen family, economic, and ecological resilience. They're also intended to lessen the racial wealth gap that we have and to make a positive impact on the communities where we live and work. We started out in 1994 with 1 office and 5 employees in the coastal town of Ilwaco, Washington on the Long Beach Peninsula. And since then, we've grown to 8 offices and more than 70 employees. And that growth, and as we've grown, that growth has allowed Craft 3 to spread the capital over both Washington and Oregon, and it's expanded the economic growth and opportunities in those communities. And we've been able to do that by lending to homeowners and entrepreneurs who have been unable to access finance through the traditional sources, through their banks, through a credit union. And so we have been able to spread our impact and increase our impact over both the states. On the consumer side, we have 4 different products. We have a home energy loan, which is an energy efficiency loan that repairs heating and cooling in the homes. It also insulates, does some weatherization, and that program is repaid through their utilities. So the homeowner does not make a payment to Craft 3, but it is the payments that they make to their utility, a portion of that comes to Craft 3 and is paid from the utility company. So sometimes they don't even realize that they have a loan with Craft 3 anymore, because they're not paying us directly. They're paying their utility, and their utility bill normally has gone down a little bit. So that payment that they're making, they don't even see it. We also have a manufactured home replacement pilot that's going, and that is to replace dilapidated old single wide manufactured homes and allowing the owners to purchase a more energy efficient and safer home for them. And then we also have the accessory dwelling units, ADUs, to build a new ADU or a secondary housing unit. And that goal is to help reduce the housing crisis that we all seem to be experiencing nationwide. We have a commercial lending team. This group, Core Restoration, they were in business for a few years doing remodels and general contracting, and they were able to get multiple jobs from insurance companies and restoration, but they weren't able to keep up with their work because they didn't have all the equipment they needed. And so they were declined for a loan from their traditional bank because they had not been in business for very long. And so they came to Craft 3, and we were able to get them financing, and they were able to purchase more equipment, and they also grew their business. So that will be something that you want to keep in mind as well. If you need to upgrade your equipment, you need some working capital, you should reach out to our commercial lending team, and the phone number and the email address is here on this, and we can always get that information to you later if you so choose. But our commercial team will be happy to work with you and see what they can do for you if you need a loan. And so now we're getting close to being ready to work with the new borrowers in your counties. And so to participate in the Clean Water Loan Program, you will need to sign up. And when I say sign up, it's just to provide us the W-9 and then your contact information. And again, that's in the orientation packet. And it's also on our website. You can complete those forms and get those to us. Once you have submitted a W-9 to us and indicated how you want to be paid, we'll be ready to work with you and your customers on their septic system repairs. And again, the process is pretty simple. If you have a homeowner who has a failing septic system, you can request some brochures from Craft 3. We can get those brochures out to you, and you can share them with that homeowner. And they're going to submit an application to us. It's going to get approved, and then you and your customer are going to work together to get that design approved and get a bid to us so that we can start working on documents. That homeowner is going to get the document signed for us. We can send the 50% up to you for the disbursement. When we send you the disbursement, we are going to email you to let you know that either a check is in the mail or a direct deposit has been set up and should be visible within the next business day or 2 business days. In that email, we're also going to include a copy of the IDP, the Inadvertent Discovery Plan, that should be on site during the construction. We're sending a copy of that IDP to the homeowner as well, so that it's covered. And that IDP is basically going to have contact information on who you should be reaching out to should something be discovered while you're digging, whether it's bones or an artifact. And then the remaining balance is paid upon completion with the approval of the county and the homeowner. And again, Craft 3 is very excited to be working with you and your customers. I've been doing this for about 12 years now almost, and we have a great lending team that has gone through many different situations with the homeowners, and we're there to help you when you need it and if you need it. And this is just a couple of the lenders that we have. Jennifer Dow is in the Gig Harbor area, and she is ready to start helping any of the homeowners that come to us. Leanna Yenny is out of our Walla Walla office, and she will be able to assist folks out there. And then Tani Reeder is in our Bend office, and she is able to work on clean water loans as well. Jennifer Dow and myself will be the main lenders, but those two, Leanna and Tani, will back us up as we need it. And then that's me, Gina Ross, my contact information. I'm out of Astoria. And again, I am so excited that this program is going to be available statewide. It is truly important for anyone who needs the financing for this. And so I just think it's great. And that concludes my presentation. Jennifer, do we have any questions?
It doesn't look like we have any questions yet.
Okay. So if you have a question or a comment and you want to enter it, I can give you a couple minutes to do that. Again, I really appreciate you all taking the time to sit in on this presentation. We will eventually have a version that's recorded that if you have someone in your company that you want to watch it, I believe that we'll have something available coming up soon, and all you need to do is reach out to me, and I'll see what we can do to get that going for you.
And I'll also be sending out a follow-up email this week that will have a link to that webinar, or to the recording of this webinar.
Perfect. And I do believe that when you sent out the invitation for this webinar, Jennifer, there was an opportunity to request brochures.
Yes, and I also put the link to the brochure request form in the chat.
Perfect, great. So feel free to email that or put an order in for some brochures. We'll be getting those out just here in the next week or so that you all will have them available when you go out in the field.
Great. Any questions for Gina?
Well, thank you all. You have a wonderful evening, and I do look forward to meeting you all in person one day and talking with you on the phone or over the email. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gina.
Good night.
Thanks for joining. Good night.